Howdy, folks. Welcome back to You, Me, and the TV. And it's time to talk about Stranger Things. And we have a special guest today. Let's bring him in. Our good friend, Uber Geek.
Hello.
How you doing, Uber Geek? The Uber Geek.
I'm not too bad. I think we've had a little discussion about how good I am during before we streamed.
Yeah, the weather over across the...
It's a little shitty.
Well, it's like 110 degrees here today. So
Yeah, I think our heat wave is finally ending today, though.
Yeah, I'd be dead if I was in there.
Tomorrow, I think.
He's on Celsius, though, so what is that?
Oh, what is that?
I'm on the French type of heat.
I've always said that Fahrenheit's the best way to determine, like...
It's ironic because Fahrenheit was originally ours.
Not scientific temperature.
Was it really?
Yes. And then we went all European. Because we are like that.
Yeah.
Bummer.
They were on Fahrenheit?
Yeah.
Wow. Should have stayed on it. Well, we're trying something new today. We're doing a dedicated topic and doing a little podcast review of Stranger Things.
Sweet.
And we got a special guest, our good friend Uber Geek, to talk about it with us because I know he's a big fan too.
Yeah.
He enjoyed it, but he's going to be critical as well.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, so I'll preface the chat. I'm just a little bit more critical than these two. Not. We can all have different opinions. We can still be friends. It's okay.
Absolutely.
That's what this is all about.
For sure.
Yeah. So, how's chat today? See Cleon out there, Brandon, Nate Dogg, True Family.
US won Fahrenheit in the war.
Exactly.
I'll just keep quiet about the war.
Yeah.
I mean, you should. But
cough 1812.
So what do you want to talk about first, Uber Geek?
Well,
tell us a little bit about yourself, since maybe our viewers might not be familiar with you.
Yes, I'm probably a little bit of an unknown. I've been on the internet for a long time, but I haven't had a YouTube channel for like a long time. So I've basically been in the background. I've been on working with other different people and different channels, helping them get theirs off the ground and everything like that. Apart from that, I've probably had a colorful life compared to some, it's fair to say. And don't know if I can say anything on here because I might get arrested. So there's that.
Well, we'll keep your identity secret, so you won't get arrested.
Yes, as I explained earlier, I have to keep my identity concealed, otherwise people might get mad.
Yeah, the Uber Geek is one of our former granddaddies, one of our big Patreon supporters, and you can thank him for the missus getting hooked on Battlestar Galactica.
Oh,
he requested the miniseries a couple months ago, and then you were like, "We got to watch the show."
Yeah,
now.
I freaking love it.
And so when
the greatest series of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So when the TV slot opened up, we threw Battlestar in for you. But yeah.
And the Uber Geek, you've got your own YouTube channel, also doing some reviews that just like.
Yes, what I primarily do is lore videos and everything. So I do information background and everything like that. So I'm concentrating on Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien, and Lord of the Rings and things like that because of obviously Amazon are doing something, a TV series that I'm not really in support of. No, not one bit.
Based on everything I've heard, you might be in the majority there. So
yeah, the Tolkien fandom is one of the most unique things in the world because we don't take no shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for example, we know how the Lord of the Rings films came out, and everyone loved them, even if it was different. Everyone loved them. Then the Hobbit films came out. Oh dear, no. It wasn't exactly the same, should we say?
Yeah, we did a first time reaction for Lord of the Rings, and you Lord of the Rings fans kind of gave me some shit, which is okay.
Yeah, just passionate, not hatred. It's all right.
I could take it. It's good. Yeah, but that's when I kind of realized, oh, geez, they mean business, these Lord of the Rings fans.
And my opinion on the original Hobbit was kind of like why we didn't watch
garbage, dude.
Peter Jackson's, and we watched the animated.
Yes, I know. Yes. Did you watch the original animated Lord of the Rings?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She hasn't.
The Hobbit we watched.
We watched The Hobbit just to get her warmed up to Tolkien's universe before we jumped into the trilogy, Peter Jackson's trilogy. So, but yeah. Well, enough about Lord of the Rings and Tolkien. Let's talk about what we're here for. Stranger Things, right? I know you like the Tolkien because he's from your neck of the woods, but let's talk about.
If you want to talk more about that, guys, just go onto my channel. It's fine.
Let's talk about our pop culture and Stranger Things, which brings together all the best pop culture from the 80s and is inspired by a lot of things that's, in pop culture over the last 30 years. And the Duffer Brothers making an awesome series that's 4 seasons in now, right?
Yeah. I think that's what kind of makes Stranger Things so good in my mind is just the pop cultural references, the nostalgia that it brings to our age.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, this is probably when it makes it a little bit more difficult for me because a lot of the references I will not understand. So I do take that into consideration when I do reviews. So, yeah.
And that makes sense to me. I mean, it would make sense that not being from the United States of America, you wouldn't have the same cultural experiences, pop cultural experiences as we did.
Yeah, a little outside looking in kind of opinion, right?
Though one thing I did see in season 4 that I did not agree with was pineapple on pizza. That is for hell no.
My opinion on that is this is America. You can eat whatever the hell you want on pizza. So
now, is pineapple on pizza a strictly
it's probably
Northern American thing?
It's probably a Northern American thing. Yeah.
Or
it's
is it
definitely a more American thing. Well, I'll say American continent because it happens in Canada as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, Canadian bacon.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's why they call it Hawaiian style, right?
I guess. So you guys don't eat pineapple on pizza over
Oh,
there?
no, we have it over here, but it's just blasphemy. This is plain blasphemy.
Okay. That's fair.
Every Italian cries when they see it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of pineapple on pizza, but
yeah.
I'll eat it if I have to.
Yeah, I mean, I used to like it more when I was little, but I'm more of a cowboy style. Pepperoni, sausage, and olive.
Shocker.
Mushrooms.
Cowboy style.
Give me the meats and give me some mushrooms and olives. I'm good for pizza. But yeah. Stranger Things 4 introduced pineapple on pizza. It basically made it sound like that was like the year of season 4. It was the year that it
sometime
kind of
in the 80s that it like really
on
came
Surfer
to
Boy
fruition.
Pizza, right? With Argyle saying, "You got to try it, dude."
So the biggest way to introduce pineapple on pizza is by a stoner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Makes sense. Yeah.
They got the munchies. So when it comes to Stranger Things, what do you want to talk about first, Uber Geek?
Okay, well, I think it's best to almost go back to the beginning because everyone will have thoughts before going to season 4 about how it's going to go out. So if I just, from my perspective, just for 5 minutes, say where I was with the series up until that point.
Yeah, go right ahead.
2016, obviously the first one comes out. Great little series. Very self-contained, I thought. You could watch that one series and you don't need to watch any others because it is its own story.
Mm-hmm.
When season 2 came out, it did the same thing that normal sequels does. It's not going to be as good as the first, but it'll still be fine. And everything. That's how I generally viewed it. It was fine. Yeah, good. Then season 3 came out. Oh dear. No. That to me was hot garbage. I'm sorry. It really was. It was just complete trash. I could go into details about that, but we're here for season 4. But yeah, so I wasn't in a good place for Stranger Things, but it lured me back in with the clips and everything on YouTube they released. The 8-minute clip they released of episode 1. Did you see that? Or it's basically the start where you see 11 and the blood in her eyes and everything like that. So
a trailer.
The trailer for season 4.
No, they released an actual 8 minutes of the first
the recap?
episode.
No, I did not see
first 8
I
minutes.
did not see that.
Yeah, that's how they drew people in because they knew they fucked up in the season 3. And so yeah, that was really entertaining to me. So I was drawn back in. Why not?
I'm actually one of the few that probably likes season 3 more than season 2.
I don't remember anything about season 2.
We know your memory is horrible about
this is true.
What happened last week.
But I remember season 1 was very memorable. I could not tell you what happened in season 2 at all. I know season 3 because it had so many of the nostalgic
the mall. That's what I
Yeah,
loved the most
references.
about it, was just all the mall stuff. Because growing up, going to the mall as an American youth, that hit for me. Now, story-wise, there was weak points, but I felt I loved Robin. It introduced Robin as a character. I loved her, and
I think season 3 was pretty playful.
Yeah.
Like I think there was a lot of humor. You're right. The storyline wise not the greatest, but I think the character development in that one was pretty good.
Well,
And
see,
the
for me, the characters were completely altered in some of them.
yeah,
Okay.
For example, Max in season 2, she was like a tomboy type. You know, she was a little bit aggressive. That's just how she is. But then she became insufferable in season 3. Thankfully, season 4 undoes that. But that's where I was with it. It was just so. Why did they change everything? And I thought I was alone on this until I started hearing from other people saying the same thing.
yeah. A lot of people say season 3 is probably the worst, and I understand the Max's being insufferable, with her brother being kind of the villain of season 3, as he's possessed by, the mind flayer. So that it was kind of tormenting her. But yeah, Max was definitely better in season 2, and especially season 4. Sadie Sink was awesome. In season
She
4
was her.
as
She
Max,
was
so
freaking fantastic this season. It was pretty
Mhm.
crazy. She had such great monologues. I think that
Mhm.
she slayed.
Yeah, she definitely
Absolutely.
had good monologues in it. As we get into it, there was a missed opportunity the creators had that I think they could have explored, but we'll get into that in a second.
Okay. Yeah. Did you want to go over more of where you were before we jump more into season 4?
Well, no, we can go into season 4 because really, if I go back into season 3, I'll just be ranting for the entire stream. Yeah, let's just get into it then.
All right, let's dive in.
Right, so what did you think of episode 1? Bear in mind, that's how it started, with basically reintroducing Papa and
Mhm.
having, obviously, everyone thinking, oh, yeah, she's going to be bad now, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, we're finding out about this tragedy that happened a couple years before 11 escapes, that looked like they made it look like she was
She
this
did it,
evil
yeah.
thing that killed everybody in the facility. But we learned later that that was actually number 1. But they set that up to
Distract,
yeah,
right?
kind
It's
of
a big
like
distraction for.
make you wonder if 11 was gonna, turn to the dark side, so to speak, during this season, before they introduced who the actual real big bad was that was terrorizing Hawkins. So I kind of like that aspect, because it made you wonder what was going on.
Yeah, so it was interesting to me the way they structured it. So they had 1 to 7, and then they had 8 and 9. Now, I don't know in the long term that's a good move. In terms of the 1 to 7, it's fine, but then they basically just joined 4 episodes into 2 at the end. They didn't need 2 hours and a half as one episode. They could have split that easily. I liked how Vecna was introduced very slowly, very, you're getting to know this evil villain. That's how it always should be done. That is part of the problem I had with the Mind Flayer, because he just kept going up and down all over the place in different forms. It's like, but no, you need something a little bit more subtle, a little more consistent.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, this season does establish Vecna as this huge big bag that's actually been lingering around the whole time since season 1, so to speak. But what you're still talking about, the first 3 seasons with the Mind Flayer and the Upside Down, like who this bad guy was, they really didn't know what they were doing with the Mind Flayer. And it seemed like they finally decided, okay, this is what we're doing. And it's being controlled by number 1. And they really
I
developed
think I'd agree.
the bad guy of the Upside Down.
I liked season 1 for the Demogorgons, right? Like I thought those were interesting creatures. And then season 2 and 3 kind of lost me a little bit with the with the Mind Flayer, because I just, like you said, Uber Geek, I just wasn't really sure what they were doing with it. Like, what is
it felt like they didn't know what they wanted their bad guy to be. They were still exploring ideas.
Right? Yeah, there's 2 things with that. So 1, people respond better to a villain that's slightly human. That's where Vecna is better.
Yep.
And 2, they obviously had great success with season 1, but they didn't actually have a 5-season plan in place straight away. They probably were thinking about it, but it kind of probably got interfered with a little bit with Netflix. So I'm thinking that maybe some certain ideas were removed because some scenes don't actually work together. It almost looks like
Yeah.
they've cut out a scene that should have been there to make things make sense.
Like, do you think they actually had a plan for Vecna to be there more than just in season 4 where they introduced him? Do you think there was actually a planned development like that?
Maybe, but I think Vecna's more of a response to the fact that you've had the Mind Flayer for 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, the Mind Flayer in the season 2 is essentially dust, gas, whatever you want to call him. He's not physically there. Number 3, he's flesh, and it's almost like they're slowly turning it into a human flesh monster.
Yeah, I don't think they had this big plan. I think they made Vecna. They created Vecna to kind of explain where they were going with the Mind Flayer,
something to focus on. Because
exactly.
I feel like they couldn't narrow it down with the Upside Down and what the Mind Flayer was supposed to be. And like you said, making a humanoid villain is more identifiable and it's easier for people to get attached to it. And
I mean, there's clearly heavy influence from Nightmare on Elm Street, and I mean that's obvious.
Like, his hand,
everything. Well, that's not a bad thing.
There was the reverse claw on the other hand, but then his dad being Freddy himself with.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Robert Englund is always good, no matter what.
Oh yeah. I was hoping we'd see him again, but he only showed up for that one episode. But
no, I think he was more of a nod to his films more than anything else.
Yeah. There was links to Freddy a bunch in the season with in the movie store. There was the Freddy cardboard cutout. And there's some kind of
you see those flashes to, just the pop cultural stuff, like,
and then Dusty actually talks about you're in Freddy's.
Yeah, Freddy and Mike Myers, and they're all kind of referenced a bit, which is nice.
Well, they also had reference to Lord of the Rings, which I did love.
Yeah.
The Fellowship. But
probably the best part of this first episode was the introduction of Eddie.
Yes, Eddie is my favorite character from season 4, and I am devastated with the way it all turned out for him.
I feel like I knew as soon as he was introduced that he was just brought in to be killed, because they didn't want to kill one of the main characters off, so they had to bring in these ancillary characters to kill off.
They've done it every single season. The first one was Barb, the second one was Bob, and then I can't remember his name, but the third one was a Russian dude, and now we had Eddie. They've done it every single season.
Do you think they'll ever in the future?
I think if they want
because Max was the closest from she's not original cast, but she's been there since season 2 and very attached. A lot of people are,
they can't all survive.
You think somebody's going to go?
I mean, somebody's got to die. A main character has got to die at some point.
I think the most likely outcome is probably Will, because he died in season 1. They had a funeral and everything for him, right? The fake body and all that stuff. So, in the way he's always been connected to the Mind Flayer and the Upside Down, I feel like for his character arc to complete, he's got to have to sacrifice himself or something to do something in season 5. So,
I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be.
Also, in regards to the big bad and Vecna, I just remembered I had this point. I forgot about it, and I want to bring it back. But I've seen videos since we finished season 4 of hints of Vecna being in past seasons, with like the clock striking and stuff like that were part of his theme in this season, where there's little hints that Vecna's been there the whole time throughout the other 3 seasons.
Don't you think it's more likely that they just added in the clock striking and we're like, oh, see, clock means Vecna?
Yeah, so they added the clock in this season
just to link it to
they had
previous
it
seasons.
in the past seasons.
No, I'm not accusing them of doing this, because I don't think they would have. But there have been past TV series on Netflix that they've actually, after when the season's ended, go back, re-edit it, and add stuff in. They've done that with what's it called, Wolf in Black.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so
just to make it cohesive. Yeah. I think Elle's gonna die.
You think Elle's gonna die?
I think at the end of the day it has to come down to like a clash of the powers. So 11 and Vecna will have to
just kill each other.
Yeah, fight to the death, I think is what it'll be in the and then once that happens, you have the good good versus evil forces that have resolved, sort of like Godzilla and any of his things, right? Yeah. As soon as the bad guy leaves, the Godzilla is good for a while.
Yeah.
Like they
Well,
don't
I
have to
suppose it's
exist
meant to
unless
be
the other
like a
exists.
representation of yin and yang, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody just said, "What about number 8? Do we pretend she never existed?" A lot of people try to forget that she existed for that one episode. But yeah, she didn't show up.
This
in
is
any
what
of the
I'm
flashbacks
saying.
in season
Season
4,
2.
right?
Oh.
She wasn't there for any of those flashbacks with. Maybe
Because
she
she
had
was
already
super
escaped.
unpopular, dude. On this, when they did
Yeah.
like a metric or something on it, she was like really unpopular with her episode.
Yeah.
It's coming back to me, season 2 now.
That one episode where
like
Elle ran
Elle is
off
like
to Chicago. And
yeah,
was
bizarre.
running into, the whole group of.
Yep,
of
I've blocked that entire season out of my mind. I think.
Yeah, but yeah, you were talking about the way they released this season with the volume 1 and then the 2-episode volume 2. I'm wondering if that was planned. Maybe they weren't done editing the last 2 episodes because those episodes had a lot going on, or if it was kind of the thematics of those 2 episodes. Because with what they revealed at the end of episode 7, and the Vecna being the Lord of the Upside Down, and what they showed of the Upside Down and his journey through it, and how he developed it into what we know from season 1, how it was established with it being 1983 or whatever, and how it was not anything like we've seen it before. It was like this mountainous valley, and that one scene when he was walking through the Upside Down for the first time after 11 threw him through. I want them to build on that. And
I know. I feel like that was the part of this season that had like the loosest ends, if you will. Like
Yeah.
I just didn't think they fleshed that out quite enough. But
Well, if you want to talk about loose ends, okay.
Yeah.
I might be wrong here, so I would like to eat humble pie if someone could correct me. Right.
Okay.
So with Hopper's story in this is that he jumped through the crack essentially, and he ended up in Russia. That's correct. Yeah.
No.
that's what I thought.
That's what we all thought. He was actually just arrested in underground the mall from the Russians that survived, and they took him back to Russia.
He
Right.
didn't
They were
jump through the
escaping.
crack. Yeah.
But they didn't
just
show that
stole
on the
him.
screen, did they?
I think they did.
And they did one flashback in this season.
In this season, they showed
where
it.
they showed that he jumped off that thing
Yeah.
and landed on the ground.
Yeah, he was on the lower,
and that the
Scaffolding.
Russians
and
came
then the
and
Russians
grabbed
came
him.
in and after.
So the Russians came into the US, grabbed him, took him out the US, back to Russia.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah,
they didn't show all of that.
that's
but
what
they,
I was confused about that point too, because I always thought he jumped through the crack, and
I thought so too.
But they
After
did
season
show it
3.
in season 4 that
Hmm.
after Joyce left, because she didn't look down, she thought he evaporated, and then so she didn't. All she had to do was
walked to the
walk
end of
to
the
the end of the
platform and
look down, and he would have been down there.
That's
But
a
instead-
bit.
Oh, you
that's a
lady.
bit
She
of
didn't
a
look
weak
over the
plotline.
railing. She just walked out,
She
grabbed her
didn't
kids,
want to
and left.
risk
And
seeing what
apparently there
might
was
have been down
Russians
there.
left over that had survived the initial attack. I mean, that's believable because it was a pretty large facility. There was probably at least a
There had to have been
handful of-
KGB and stuff
Yeah.
roaming around.
Yeah.
Right?
This is part of the problem I had with season 3. The idea that you have this super Russian base in the middle of the US.
under the mall, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of a weak point in season 3 for sure. Like they were
Well,
just trying to make it interesting.
Maybe it's in the same universe as the Americans. We haven't actually watched that whole show, but we've watched a couple episodes this first season, and I mean, there you go. They're embedded in the 80s.
Under the mall.
Yeah, under the mall. Maybe that's why malls have, kind of crumbled since the end of the Soviet Union, because they were all run by the Soviet Union.
The KGB ran all of our malls.
Yeah. Think about it.
Okay, so what do you think about the introduction of Argyle?
I liked Argyle.
I thought he was just a fun character. I honestly thought they brought him in just to kill somebody off again.
Yeah.
He's basically comic relief.
Yeah.
He was just comic. He was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was to give, because all those characters in that group, Mike, Will's brother, I can't remember his name, they're all very dry and very lame.
Mm.
And they needed a little,
It's so true. Those
Yeah.
3 characters
they needed somebody
themselves are really
charismatic
wah,
to
wah.
help that group.
Yeah, so
be
that's part
in
of what I
fun.
did like about season 4 is that they separated everyone into smaller
Yeah.
groups. That having in season 3, having them all together does not work. It's too many personalities.
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Also-
that's, again, the narrative of that is what makes season 4 pretty awesome.
Yeah. What was it? I've lost my train of thought now. Oh shit. I'll be 1 minute. I'll remember.
Yeah.
That's it. I remember now. Jonathan and Nancy. I could not believe them in season 3 being romantically involved, even though in reality they actually are.
Are they really
They're
together
actually
in real
together
life?
in real life, but I couldn't believe it on the screen.
That's crazy.
Oh, the actors, the actors are
So I
together in
was
real
so
life.
glad when they separated.
I'm with you. I don't think that they're very believable as a couple.
But they're together in real life.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think Jonathan is that same.
He's not like
character,
that in real life. Probably he's just really
his
dry
character's
as a character.
I think that maybe that's part of the problem. The fact they are together in real life, they might feel awkward on set.
Could be.
Yeah. They probably met on this show too, so they probably didn't.
Oh yeah,
really
they did
establish that relationship until after season 1. And with the way the show is going too, with Nancy and Steve, the love triangle that they especially built on this season, I feel like Steve and Nancy are destined to be together.
I think so.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's the awkwardness of they know the future of their relationship on the show is, to separate, and maybe they just act weird around each other because of their real life relationship. Maybe that affects the performance. I don't know.
I think from the character's perspective, their characters are just starting. They had that traumatic incident to bond them together, and now they're just moving in different directions.
Yeah.
So you're saying basically she's attracted to drama?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, she's a journalist, so she's just drawn to the
story.
Yep.
Who's the story? Steve's more of a story than I don't even know Will's brother's name. I can't remember it.
Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan. Okay.
Now, I know I probably focus on minute details that don't matter, and I completely understand that. But there was one aspect of Hopper's story that really got me. Remember when he breaks his ankle in order to slip out the shackles? Now, that's fine. I would do that if I was in Russia.
His theory is different. That's not what happened.
I thought he was breaking his foot, but somebody in our comments made the notion that he wasn't hurting himself. He was having the guy bend the shackles enough that it wasn't round, it was oval, so he could slip his foot through.
Right. But again, this is another case of the show not explaining that properly on screen.
Yeah.
So right now, most people, me included, think that he tried to break his own foot.
Yeah.
Which means he interrupted his blood flow and got gangrene, which he then sprinted in the snow like Usain fucking Bolt.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
He had a huge wound, and he wasn't hampered by it at all.
I know that.
So
that was the part
one of
that
the
was
unbelievable parts.
That was kind of a little annoying to me too. Like, well, what happened to Hopper's leg? Are we just ignoring that he?
Yeah, they could have had something like Hopper vocalize in his cell or something that what he was doing to better let dumb audiences.
I have to say, I laughed so hard at that part. Oh my god, I was screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude has broken feet, just runs around and jumps off shacks. But, I was worried about.
Sorry, go on.
I was worried about part of the Russian crew. Like, the fact that they got out of Russia without any casualties and the good guys was surprising to me.
Honestly, the whole Russian storyline was just kind of felt like a throwaway to me.
Yeah,
like
just kind of.
It was
they didn't know what to do with
just
the adults
because
this season,
exactly. They didn't know what to do with the adults, so they just had this side story going on.
There's also the most unbelievable aspect of season 4 when you got kids doing psychic powers towards each other. The sneaking into Russia, breaking somebody out of the KGB prison, and getting them back out was the most.
And then sneaking back in.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one character I actually liked, not liked as in because he's a nice person, but liked because he's a damn good actor. Is
Yuri?
No, Jason, the bully. The one that was
bully.
Yeah. To me, he was very believable because the way he was reacting to the death of his girlfriend and using just circumstantial evidence that from a magazine that D&D is somehow evil and a cult. I just thought that was so believable.
That was actually a big thing in the 80s, though, in
people
American
actually
journalism.
Thought that.
There was Newsweek articles and Time Magazine articles about it and stuff like that they were saying, don't let your kids play Dungeons and Dragons. They're worshiping Satan and stuff. So they actually built off a real
pop cultural incident. Yeah, I think you're right. Jason was an interesting character that felt pretty believable.
His death was pretty cool, but I wish they would have made it even more.
I just don't see him as a villain. If you see what I'm saying,
Yeah.
I think he's circumstantial villain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Just to be there, just to, spoil things for the good guys.
He was kind of a good old American kid. Like that was his character, and then they turned him into this villain because of this traumatic incident that he went through with his girlfriend. So yeah.
The charismatic jock.
Yeah.
So
is that actually a true stereotype or not?
An American jock?
The jock thing, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
especially in the 80s. He felt like an 80s sports captain. Like that was a very believable, very believable character. His attitude and, speaking at the pep rallies and stuff like that. So yeah.
I mean, I can speak because I was not
charismatic jock.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, ASB president and captain of all of our sports teams, and it's very.
She went to a small school, so there wasn't like much options for the school to nominate her for that stuff. So, how big was your graduating class?
16.
Okay, there you go.
That's always fascinating me about American schools, because you have graduation for high school, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
We don't have anything like that. You simply finish and that's it. You have your certificates you have your exams and everything. You get your certificates and things like that, but there's no ceremony.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, we'll do anything to have a party over here, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they graduate kindergartners, so.
Jesus Christ.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, what do you want to talk about now? Do you have another topic that you want to jump into?
I'm trying to, because we're skipping obviously episode back and forth all the time, so we may as well just keep with that. There was one thing that's it's not really it's not a negative, it's just blah, if you see what I'm saying. Right, so you remember when they escaped from the prisons? I think this is episode 8. I think I want to say 8, and they want to call home, don't they?
Yeah.
Right. Now, two things really with that. First of all, are you really going to call on a Soviet Union phone to the US and have it been tapped by the KGB, who will trace you in 2 minutes flat? That's one thing. The other thing is, if you're escaping to get back to your kids, you would concentrate on fixing things. You would not let Yuri, who's betrayed you once, to fix it for you. And the fact that they had to use a phone in order to basically start the stepping stones for going back into prison, everything like that, it's just a little bit of a lazy MacGuffin for me. So without that phone, I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah, that plot point was kind of weird because they broke out of jail and then went back to. It was kind of just those characters just needed to find out what was going on in Hawkins, so they had a different motivation for those last 2 episodes. Because at that point they were just like, we gotta get Hopper home, but then they realized something's going on in.
They had to know that something was going on in Hawkins for them to.
But the phone call was kind of stupid. It's like they could have just hoped to get a helicopter going and go. But
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like that whole storyline could have been removed from this season, and it would have, I think, maybe been better.
Yeah.
Kind of detracted from the other stuff that was going on.
Honestly, that kind of gave the season its long runtime too, though. Because it was kind of its own separated. Once Joyce left with Murray, it was completely separated from everything until that final episode when they go back into the prison to fight all the.
I know. I say like, gosh, I wish they wouldn't have even done that whole storyline. But if they would have just like sent Joyce and Murray away and then come back at the end with Hopper, I would have been like, what the hell were they doing this whole time? So, so I guess it was kind of a lose situation.
I mean, they also had an awesome action sequence with Hopper.
Oh, I don't doubt that for a minute.
With, I think that was Conan's sword. So they had a chance to do that. So.
But this is just how my mind works. I focus on small details, and if those small details to me don't make sense, I'm like, oh, fuck this.
No, I think a lot of people will say that the Russian storyline was probably the weakest storyline of season 4. But I don't think it hurt season 4 in the end, and it kind of broke up the pacing just to give you a chance to breathe, because
that's
a lot of shit was going on in Hawkins that especially.
Well, you
with,
said about
give you
killing off characters. It will probably be adults. It will probably be adults that go because
yeah.
the main
I was actually
focus is
surprised
kids.
that like Joyce survived this season. I thought she was gonna have to like die to get Hopper to come home, but nope, they all lived. Even Murray with his kung fu.
Yeah.
He got
I mean,
into
there
a
was
lot of
one
fist
thing.
fights, and he was.
Yeah. Do you remember? It's episode 8 and 9 when they go into the Upside Down and then they're riding around and all that sort of thing. I'm a little bit confused because in season 1 and 2, season 1 mainly, the premise is Will is basically dying in the Upside Down because he can't breathe. He's suffocating. The atmosphere is toxic. How can they just walk around in the Upside Down without?
That's another thing I think they needed to establish, and I think you can work around it with what they established in season 4 of how Vecna was thrown through the wall, and then he created this Upside Down, and it was set to that time in 1983 when 11 in season 1 reached through again, right? So maybe since it's been activated for 3 years, it becomes less toxic. Does that make sense?
That could be very true. Very true.
So it's still that world that Vecna walked into.
Like, because now it's been developed for so long, it's like being oxygenated from all of the
links
creases
to the real world. Yeah,
that's an interesting theory.
You can science it out.
Again, it's all. I think the problem with modern TV today is that they don't establish things on the screen. That is the main issue I've always had. It's not like it's when you adapt a book, for example, if you leave out one small detail, that could really mess you up.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they do kind of skip over some of these things that are kind of helpful and contextually, right?
I think that's one of the it's like a double-edged sword of a strength and a weakness with Stranger Things. Is this Upside Down is so intriguing and you want to know more about it, so you tune in to hopefully get some information about it, but they don't really.
It's like Lost.
They don't develop it as much as you would really like. And I'm hoping maybe since they finally blew it open with it coming through into the real world at the end of season 4, season 5 might give us some answers. Like that whole with one Vecna walking through the undeveloped Upside Down world scene I was like, I want to see more of this. And I think we might get that with season 5 because they're going to have to if it's leaking into our world now, right?
Wildman Beyond, thanks for the $1.99. Appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah. I was also I lost it. I had something disappeared.
Yeah, you're like me, mate.
Yeah. Okay, Uber Geek, what were your feelings on, was it episode 3? Was that the part 4?
4, running up the hill.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on episode 4? Because that was like a huge, like, it was a big one in our house anyways.
Yeah. Well, I think if you look at ratings for
it was
reactions to that episode, Kate Bush's charting because of that song in that episode.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the best episodes of television ever produced. Right. And the peak of this episode of this season. So
yeah, I mean, I like the episode. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but that was the episode I thought they actually missed a potential thing they could do. Well, if I was writing, this is only me. If I was writing it, if Max was up against, being restrained like that, the stress of all that, I would have had a dormant power activating her, like 11, and then she'd be like her, and then fight her, and that would be how she fights him off and escapes.
Okay.
It's just
interesting
how I would do it. That's all. But yeah, I like the way I love Kate Bush. Have since I was a kid.
Yeah.
We listened to some Kate Bush songs after that episode. I didn't like any of her stuff.
That song is amazing.
Oh man,
she's got such like a really high pitch.
She sings lower
sound
in that song though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
It was weird. Just like, wow, that's the only good song.
But yeah, season 4, that whole last 30 minutes in the cemetery and in the Vecna's lair was just intense. Not sure if she's going to get out of it because the way they wrote it, and it felt like it was saying goodbye to Max, right? And then she gets out.
I think my issue, and it is and I really have to take into account when I'm reviewing stuff, is that I don't get emotional at things. That is my problem. I watch it as just an episode. I know everyone else was tearing at the eye or whatever it might be. I just don't. I can't help it. I'm English.
I didn't get teary about it. You kind of did a little,
Yeah.
or like you were feeling it more. But it was just building and building and building and building and building. You could tell.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought she was gonna die.
So, and then
as soon as she didn't, I knew right away. Okay, they're gonna use this as
the tool to fight.
The way to get to him later.
Yeah. But then Max's fate at the end of the season, she is comatose and lost. So, what are your thoughts on what they're going to do with Max in the future? Because she's not dead. If she was outright dead, they would have outright killed her. So, in season 5, I think there's going to be a plot point of saving Max.
Yes, that could actually
go
be quite
find
interesting.
her.
Yeah. I mean, when I might be getting the wrong end of the stick, but didn't 11 go into her mind to find nothing?
Yeah, she was she walked into her mind at the hospital at the end, and I
think she's going to go find her literal mind in terms of her mind separated from her body. Like,
yep, I completely agree. That's exactly what my comment was at the end. Like, Elle's going to have to go and find her out there in that ethereal space that she's lost in.
Another thing, somebody commented on our recent video of ours that Max is actually trapped in Vecna's mind. So 11's going to have to break into there to get her out and reattach her. And you were talking about Max developing powers. I think if any of the kids are going to develop powers, it's going to be Will, because of his connection to the Upside Down since season 1.
That could happen.
My thing about Will is that they have not, in this season specifically, they did not touch on Will in any sort of way being helpful.
Yeah.
Like,
his only development this season was
connection.
His relationship and his feelings towards Mike.
Yeah, but exactly. I think that maybe was a plot point that they could have dug into a little bit more or developed a little bit more, because you're right. He has in the past had this connection to the Mind Flayer, and they've made that very clear in the first
and then that
2
final
or 3 seasons.
20 minutes, he has his hairs on the back of his neck raised up when he feels.
Yeah, but they didn't use that at all in this season, which I think was maybe something that they could have done.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just reading the comments here. Kevin Brown said Max is host for Vecna and she's the real world vessel for him to fight in. Yeah, that sounds very probable.
Oh, do you think Vecna's going to use Max's body then? Ooh,
that sounds terrifying. Thanks, Kevin.
Well, he already used her brother, Billy, in season 3.
Yeah,
so
it's true. Oh, Richie thinks Will's going to be the sacrifice. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it could be.
Well, man, beyond, thanks for the 199. He said he's made a fanfic of what happens to Max. We'll have to check that out. To read that.
I'll tell you one thing I had a fear of when I finished episode 1 to 7 before 8 and 9 came out, is that they were just going to simply kill off Vecna and that would be it. To me, because that would have been a wasted build up and everything like that. But thankfully, they didn't.
Yeah, I agree. Like they worked so hard and used that entire season to build Vecna's storyline and develop that character. It would have been a complete waste for them to kill him off. So I'm glad that they didn't.
Yeah, I thought there was something bigger than him this whole season. But I guess he was just using the Mind Flayer from the Upside Down. Like, I felt like...
You felt like the Mind Flayer was the big thing and he was...
No, I felt like there's something... I just always felt like there's something bigger than the Mind Flayer. Like, that's just something's tool to try and chap through. And I guess the way they established it, it was Vecna using the Mind Flayer. The way... But it always felt like there was something bigger.
Well, the Mind Flayer for the Stargate fans out there is basically like Anubis. He's an entity that is trapped in a shell after he's encountered Vecna, because he gives him form, doesn't he? Once he uses his powers and everything like that.
Yeah, they Michael Myers to Vecna. Right? The old fall off the balcony
and then he disappears.
Walk down to see if he's still there. He's gone.
Yeah, that was a nice throwback to Michael Myers or to Halloween. Okay, Christian's got a good comment. With the upside down being open, does Vecna really need a real world vessel, or can't he just go through the barrier himself?
That's interesting.
It's a good question.
I mean, that's that's a perfect question, because I'm kind of feeling the same way. Like, why would he need to use Max as a vessel?
Vecna evaporated in his mind world when they were fighting in the mines. When he was on fire in the upside down, he evaporated his presence inside Max's head. That 11 was where 11 was fighting him. So he is still physically in the upside down somewhere. But it depends on, like, does he get his powers from the upside down and the mind flare that he absorbed when he walked through the valley?
I don't think he gets his powers from the upside down. I just think, like a Jedi, he honed his powers and things like that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, it's kind of like Power Rangers, right? He has these powers, but then he has this Megazord with the mind flare he attaches to, and it, like, all those tentacles that were around him. What is that a part of, and all this kind of stuff. So
that's the vines, isn't it? They were, because it's all one thing, so it's interconnecting to him.
It's connected. Yeah, it's connected to him. He then controls that whole organism, right?
But they showed a Demogorgon when he first shows up in the upside down that was already there. So they aren't his creation, but he is tapping into them as the hive mind. So
he's basically appropriated them.
Yeah, I want to see them develop what those things are without him. And if there's, I always feel like there's something bigger than that. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, well, the underground itself, all right, like that entire environment is kind of bigger than him. It existed before him. Yeah. So you're right. There could be something.
State, though. That's
I don't know. It is weird.
That was the most intriguing part of this season for me, was what they established for the upside down with its lore and this whole.
Well, someone was speculating to me that there's going to be some sort of huge battle in season 5. I mean, I'm talking like Avengers level battle, and I don't believe that for a second.
I mean, the way they opened up this portal, it felt like we're going to have like U.S. military fighting off armies of Demogorgons kind of thing, right?
One comment. His body was destroyed by Nancy and company.
I don't think his body was destroyed in the upside down.
No, I don't think it was either.
Just on fire. He stopped, dropped, and rolled and ran away.
Stop, drop, roll.
So, Christian agrees with me. There's something bigger out there. But there's only one season left, so it kind of, I always thought that they were going to.
There's a spinoff coming.
Yeah, they've talked about doing spinoffs, but I don't know if it's going to be.
Oh, it's actually coming. It's been confirmed. There's a spinoff coming.
What is the spinoff? Do you know what?
I have no idea, but it's not involved. It's not involving the original characters. They've just confirmed that Netflix are doing it because they've actually created a company called Upside Down or something as a production company.
So maybe season 5 ends with the world still connected to the upside down. We're going to have just
an upside down world.
They could do a lot of things. Is that season 5 is only just simply going to be a prequel to the new one instead of rounding off what we actually want.
I think they need to have a clean. I think that if they want to do this right, they need to have a clean cut ending, right? Don't you think? I mean, they need to really wrap up this entire storyline, and then if they're going to do a spinoff, it needs to be something completely different, just with connections in a way.
Plus, from what I understand, there's a time jump for season 5.
Yeah, they're going to jump. I mean, the kids are all. When did the season 1 of Stranger Things come out? 2015, 2016? 16. Yeah. So they're all old now.
Yeah,
like by the time this next season comes out, it's going to be like 10 years later. So
first series is 2016
age with them.
The second one's 17, but then they didn't do the third one to 19, and now 22.
Yeah.
So
I think what he means by prequel is they'll set it up with a cliffhanger of. I think with what you're saying, you think season 5 will be about setting up a next show.
Yeah, essentially they won't round up all the details that we want, and it's basically setting up for a new show, which they've done that with other TV series. I just hope they don't. I'm probably not going.
This would be the first time Netflix will do it, though, because usually Netflix just ends shows before they're ever actually completed. So Stranger Things will be the first time they actually let a show, I think, complete its narrative arc that they've been planning. I think at this point, season 5 will be about defeating Vecna for good, and then either closing off the huge portal that he created between the Upside Down, or trying to and failing, and that is the spinoff. Like they leave it open because you could do it. You could do like a or a government agency that does missions into the Upside Down through the huge gate or something. I don't know, like an X-Files type show of
Sounds
exploring
like
the Upside
Stargate.
Down, right?
That is essentially Stargate.
Yeah. Or I saw this on the internet. I would love a show of just Steve and Robin getting a new job every summer, and then having like a little sitcom.
Just following
just
Steve
a normal,
and Robin in a sitcom.
normal life of Steve and Robin having a summer job.
It's an updated Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Harry, thank you for the $5 super sticker.
I can't remember pronounce his name. I think it says Freak Attack 69. He says, I think this series is overrated. I'm inclined to agree. Sorry.
Overrated. I think it's.
I think there's a lot of
what's up.
hype, but that's for season 1, and people are having a little bit member berries for it.
Huh? Okay.
Maybe I'm just because we just watched it, but season 4 is my favorite.
Yeah.
I liked it better than season 1, I think.
Okay.
And we needed season 1 to get to season 4, so I don't know.
I do think season 4 makes all the other seasons better because of
Definitely.
how elevated they came back from it, right? So
if they had left it just with series 1 to 3, I would not have kind words.
No, they got their legs back with season 4 for sure. So I'm still saying season 1 was better.
Okay.
Just
absolutely.
The overall mystery of it.
It's the story writing and everything like that was very unique. The story writing for season 2, 3, and 4 is just like every other modern TV. It's very sterile to me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas season 1 is unique. And it's, like I said, self-contained. You can just watch that. And you can watch that
That's true.
anytime.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. Wildman Beyond, thank you for the 1999. Since both shows are both similar to each other, do you want a Stranger Things / Cobra Kai crossover, but like an alternate off-canon animated film, like how the Upside Down had some ancient history with ancient karate?
Nice.
A Cobra Kai Stranger Things crossover, but that would have to be in today's timeline, right? So it would be like
they'll be going through time.
An older version. They'd have to cast an older version of the kids to run around with.
No, even better.
Kids
If they go back to the 80s, you have Mr. Miyagi,
and it's the karate. Yeah, Mr. Miyagi. They're gonna
that'd be cool.
Do a
that'd be better.
CG Mr. Miyagi.
That'd be better.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Harry is agreeing. He thinks Vecna works for a bigger entity.
Yeah, there's a couple people out there that say there's something bigger out there, but I don't know if they have enough time left in the show to actually establish. I mean, maybe they could do that for the prequel. Stranger Things is about Vecna's arc, even though they only established him in 4 to kill him off in 5, right? If his story is contained in this 5-season show, but maybe the bigger thing is hinted at and finally revealed at the end of 5, and that's what the next Stranger Things spinoff is about. So, yeah.
I mean, the reason Stranger Things was such a success is that it was basically one of the first shows to do the binge model, and that people could watch it all at once. Now, I'm not personally a fan of the binge model, but for this, it worked because of the subject matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but now they try to do that with other things, haven't they? Which don't work.
Yeah, there is a good argument for the binge and the weekly release, and the way we watched it basically an episode a week for our
weekly.
channel. I actually enjoyed Stranger Things more because it gave each episode
gives you time to marinate it.
Marinate.
Absolutely.
Get the whole flavor of it.
You have time to reflect on what you watched and what it could all mean and how it could be impacting other things. And then you get to watch the next episode. Yeah, I know. I think as much as I hate waiting for week-to-week releases, there's a huge benefit to it in that marinating.
Part of the benefit of having week-to-week releases is that you build the fandom. You have discussions week and week. And over.
It's that water cooler event, right?
Yeah.
Yep, but that's what I think they tried to do with season 4 is by splitting it. Is that they're doing a halfway in between binge and halfway in between weekly.
Yeah.
Because
I think they maybe could have just done week-to-week releases and had it been very successful.
I don't think like it would hurt the show at all. In fact, I think that's why you enjoyed it more, is because you were able to think about it more than Like you don't
Yeah.
remember seasons 2 and 3 much because we just binged
just
all of
watched
them,
it all,
and they
yeah.
kind of all just blur together. And the way we watch season 4, it lets it linger and it lets it marinate, and you get the whole flavor of the season because you're
Well-
able to think about each season or each episode's thematic elements.
I'll give you a
Wild
good
Man Beyond-
example. Sorry.
Wild Man Beyond gave us another $4.99. Not time, but alternate universe. Karate Kid is mentioned in 3.
Ah. Yeah, I mean, a good example of how the weekly model worked to its benefit is Game of Thrones. I mean, that's clearly
Yeah.
worked because
Yep.
of that. I mean, the reactions took off on YouTube because of Game of Thrones. That's
Yep.
where
Yep.
reaction
The Red
channels were
Wedding.
birthed.
Wild Man Beyond, thanks for another $4.99. If they skip to 1989, they better have a Batman reference.
It's probably the best live action Batman ever.
Is that the original?
Yeah.
It's Tim
What if
Burton.
Michael Keaton shows up in season 5?
He's showing up in the Flash, isn't he? So
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that they have a real world actor from pop culture show. I mean, they have aliens references
mm,
with
Sigourney Weaver?
no, Paul Reiner,
Oh, yeah.
right? Paul Reiner's in the show, and they
And they make
reference
reference
aliens all
to
the
them.
time, right? So, and then Bob from season 2, he's a member of the Goonies, and Stranger Things is very Goonies like, right?
Yeah.
So he's also in Lord of the Rings, but that hasn't happened in Stranger Things universe yet. So,
They make reference to it.
I mean, yeah, they reference to the pop culture franchise of Lord of the Rings, but not the Peter Jackson movies that
Oh, gotcha. That he was in.
Sean Astin was in. Yeah.
I think that's everything I can think of Stranger Things. I mean, there's other things as well, but they're just nitpicks more than anything else. Not really worth talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike wasn't great this season.
Will was underwritten, I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes,
He had some head injury.
yes.
Like they just did not write Will enough this season.
Yeah, that whole group. I mean, they had to have Argyle in there for that group to actually be interesting and charismatic and entertaining. So yeah.
I don't know if this is true, but was there some sort of writers' strike? I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't think there has been on this season. No.
No.
Wild
I think
Man
there was
Beyond,
in season 3.
Thanks for another $4.99. Wild Man Beyond
Might have been a short one.
Ghostbusters reference made the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Season 3 was all Ghostbusters.
God, it
right?
would be so depressing.
Or was that
if it-
season 2?
I think it was season 2.
Yeah, season 2.
Yeah. It's
Because they both had the same
Halloween's Ghostbusters.
labels, didn't they? The
Yeah.
same.
One character that season 4.
I'm not a vengeful person, but a skate to the face wasn't enough for Angela.
Yeah, they never went back to Angela after that, though. I mean, they kind of left the area, so there was no point in. But I was like, I kind of wanted to see more of this character that with Angela being the bully at.
Yeah, can I ask you something about that actually? Because I'm generally didn't want to comment on the bullying stuff because I didn't know if that type of quote unquote bullying is normal in the US or not. Because to me, it just looked like victimization rather than bullying.
That was probably a little bit overblown.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
bullying
that's
at the
what I
skate
thought.
rink was probably a little bit overblown, but it could also be a California thing. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think they overplayed that a little too hard.
Yeah, I was thinking it was Hollywood taking license with it, so that's why I was
Yeah.
a little bit drawn out of that for me.
So things that they did right in this season, I think Lucas, with the events that are going on with Max, what they gave Lucas to work with and that
Yes,
actor, I can't
that's
remember his
they
name.
elevated him.
Lucas was an awesome character in this season because of what he had to go through to save Max.
Harry,
Yes.
thanks for the $1.
He always seemed like quite a side character for a lot.
Yeah,
of
he
it.
hasn't
Yeah.
really had much to do. This season they really built on him, and I like
Yeah.
that. And it's all the Hawkins group, all the characters in Hawkins were elevated this season because of
That's because they were separated.
yeah.
Mhm.
But you can't say the same about the other groups. They didn't really do much with them other than what they were doing. The character development of all the Hawkins kids, and including the new ones like Eddie and
Mhm.
Jason, were all better. Like
Yeah.
Hawkins was the most entertaining aspect, but also it was the best well written and character developed.
Oh, Jeffrey in the comments says they split the season so each of the parts could be eligible for 2 different Emmy Awards. The cutoff for the 2022 Emmys was May 31st. So he said that
that's
Better
bad.
Call Saul did a split for that reason too.
That's really
Oh, that's
bad.
interesting.
So is that why Sadie Sink didn't get nominated for this year's Emmys?
Well, no, he's saying that they split it so that they could get both.
So yeah, Stranger Things could be nominated for next year's. They
Yeah,
were, but there was nominations for Stranger Things, wasn't there?
I don't know.
In this year's
I don't
Emmys?
know how your awards work, because I can't comment.
Because it is a crime that Sadie Sink was not nominated.
Yeah,
for
if
Max.
that
Like,
was a fantastic.
I can't think of
performance.
another performance
Better than that. Yeah.
on television this year. I mean, I'm not watching everything, but
Oh, Penta55 said they wanted their Carrie reference too hard, and he's referring to the skate rink.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm seeing
That's
it now.
exactly
Yeah.
right. Yep,
yeah, that was definitely
that's a
Carrie.
good point. Yep.
I just want to go back to skate rinks because I grew
they're
up going to
fun.
one like every week.
I could never skate as a kid. Jesus. Oh, so bad memories.
Elliot Bishop, thanks for the $5 super sticker.
All right. Did you have any other topics you wanted to jump on, Uber Geek, or should we go to the chat and see what?
Yeah, just go to the chat, because Stranger Things, I think I'm fresh out, because the stuff I comment on is not the same stuff you comment on. It goes into a little bit more deeper, like in terms of outside the actual show itself. That's happening in, like, say, Hollywood and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Dear Billy got a technical nomination.
Oh,
And it
for
got,
this music?
and it got, I mean, probably just for like technical, probably editing.
Just editing?
Stranger Things got nominated for Best Drama and a bunch of technical Emmys too. So technical is like editing, sound design, stuff like that. Upside Down is a biotechnological Minecraft dimension. I kind of touched on that too. It's like it was procedurally generated by Vecna after he reaches out into certain points of the world, and that's why it was generated in 1983 or whatever. We were trying to decide on why was the Upside Down in 1983 when the real world's in 1986. But I think it was finally just decided it's because that's when 11
broke through.
Yeah.
Or pushed him through.
Yeah. So Rhea Seahorn. What show is that from?
Yeah.
Mano?
Wildman Beyond, thanks for the $9.99. Since the show is an homage to different genres in the 80s, how about we get an 80s action hero for next season, like Dolph Lundgren as a National Guardsman?
Well, they are.
I mean, Dolph would have to play a Russian.
Yeah, well, they're actually making a Balboa universe now, aren't they? Rocky universe.
Yeah, they're doing a. Oh, she hasn't
Creed
watched
film.
the Rocky movies yet.
Not Creed film. Sorry, that's wrong. Drago film.
Yeah, Dolph's Rocky IV character's getting his own spinoff. So.
Don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Oh, Kim Wexler from Better Call Saul. Yeah, it would be a okay. I haven't watched this season of Better Call Saul yet because I'm waiting for them all to be out. But yeah, I'm sure Kim's probably having a good season with Better Call Saul. So yeah, that would be good competition. The fact that Sadie wasn't even nominated though is the crime. So
Harry, thanks for another buck. Hello to Quebec.
So what are you guys going to be watching after Stranger Things?
Well,
that's a good question.
The TV slot or the show that's filling in for temporarily is Stephen King's It.
Ooh, that's good.
So we're watching the 1990 version, and then we're also watching the movie adaptations from a couple years ago. In the same, we'll go on chapter 1, and then chapter 2.
All right, okay.
And I felt like after Stranger Things, because Stranger Things is kind of Stephen King-ish, especially with the group of kids, I felt like jumping into another group of kids fighting evil with It would be a good jumping off.
I thought you might have a little bit too much of that or something. We're all worn out from it.
Sav912WL, thanks for the $5. I've seen rumor that season 5 will introduce a new classic D&D villain character, Beholder or Gelatinous Cube, perhaps.
Yeah, some people in chat were talking about how is there something bigger than Vecna? And they're talking about, somebody said that the Mind Flayer wasn't anything but a cloud of dust until Vecna controlled it, but I think it was something other, like because it formed that shape that we all know, that trademark Mind Flayer shape. When Vecna first saw it in the valley, it was forming that shape. So it's sentient. There's sentience to it.
He formed it with his powers.
Oh,
That's
you think
what
he
was
did
doing.
that for him?
No, he did. You saw him put his hand in the
You
air
saw
and
it.
he was doing it.
Yeah, he was like
He
this,
actually
right?
he that's what I was
Okay.
saying. That's why I made the analogy to Anubis. He's like a shell. He made
okay.
it for him.
I
But
didn't
yeah,
get that.
I mean, the
from that,
Mind Flayer
but
could
that makes sense.
have been something else beforehand, and it's been just like somehow destroyed, and now is the Mind Flayer.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it could have been. It was something, and he put it back together, kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Informed
Harry
it.
says, "Do you think they'll bring back number 8 next season?"
No, I don't think we'll ever see number 8. They didn't even bring her back
Please,
this
God,
season
no.
for. There wasn't a younger version of her in any of the Hawkins Lab stuff, so I think they're done with her.
Yeah, Manuel agrees that he shaped that.
He shaped it
himself.
into a spider. Okay, I see it now.
Harry, thanks for another $1.
So, is there any movies that are coming out that you are looking forward to?
Like new releases.
Yeah, new releases.
Let's see what's coming out soon.
No, Kevin mentioned if 11 created the Upside Down, then if she physically goes through to the Upside Down, wouldn't she be God? I don't know that she created it, though. I think it was already
she
in
tapped into
existence.
it.
I think she was the one that pushed him into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that was already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the realm itself existed. It just was without presence from humans. That's it.
Yeah.
Untouched.
Elliot Bishop, thanks for the €2. Always excited for more Stephen King content.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She was not happy with me after
We
chapter
watched
it last night.
And that was not good.
Nope. Yeah, we both want to see Nope. We're waiting for that to hit home video. So I guess new releases would be Nope. Just the whole Jordan Peele, and I feel like he's good at creating horror, and interesting to see his take on alien invasion.
Christian said the timeline doesn't add up for the Mind Flayer to beat Barb. Rats.
Nope.
There's one film coming out at the end of next month, on Amazon, and it's called The Samaritan.
Yeah, I actually just saw the preview for that.
I haven't seen
Looks
it.
good.
It's Sly.
Oh.
Playing a retired superhero.
Yes,
Oh.
it is based on a comic, but it's a very obscure comic that have pretty much no issues available. I can't get one.
You can't find an issue, not even on like eBay
No,
or anything like that.
no, nowhere, not even digitally,
Wow.
How do you know it actually is a comic then?
because it's based on the comic. That's what it says.
No.
So he's going even more obscure than Dread. So there you go.
Oh, that
Yeah, it looked pretty good. So
Jesus Christ.
I am the law.
Cleon says Stranger Things number 8, the movie.
Yeah. So do you think Stranger Things season 5 will be as epic of length as season 4? Because they really created 2 seasons worth of content.
Yeah,
length
I don't think they're going to be as
this
long.
year.
I think they said it's not going to be as long as well.
Okay.
I think they're going to be long episodes, just not long in length in terms of the season.
Maybe like a seven season or 7 episode show.
In fact, I'll probably look it up.
Evan, yeah. So we watched the first part of the original It movie, right?
Yeah.
And then
So we watched 1990. So when 1990 released, it was a 2-night event.
right.
There's the first half and second. We've watched the first half of the 1990 version.
And then he made me watch the remake of the first half.
The 2017 movie is what we watched last night.
Horrifying.
It chapter 1, basically. And it's basically a remake of that first night of the
And then now I
series.
get to watch the second half
And then we'll
and
watch
the remake of the second half.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
because
very deflating.
the remake of it, at least chapter 1, has what's his name from Stranger Things?
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, it's Richie. She actually loved Richie.
He was my favorite character, I think, of that
Oh, he's
movie.
hilarious.
Does Sly have blue eyes in Samaritan? It's funny.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm sure not. Let's hope not. Ralph, is it really the best adult dating site?
Don't know what you're talking about. She was mad at me for making her watch it. I was like, if I didn't make her watch it, somebody was going like.
I know, I would have had to watch it.
I would have made you
eventually,
watch it.
Oh gosh, it's horrible. I did not enjoy that last night.
Yeah,
I think it'll make a good reaction. or at least parts of it will.
Have you seen a series called
She hasn't been
Boston
that
Legal?
scared for a while.
No, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
If you're wanting just simply a little bit of comedy, but subtle comedy, that's the one to do. It's William Shatner, James Spader. It's so good.
Oh, James Spader, you don't like him?
Yeah, I like Shatner though.
Wow, two guys with very unique cadences.
Yeah. How do they get through a conversation?
Yeah.
The show is just them talking for 40 minutes. One conversation. One topic.
Do you want Nancy to get with Steve, or did he miss his chance? I don't think he's missed his chance, Harry.
No.
I think they're building back to that.
Yeah, there's going to be a huge love triangle between Jonathan and Steve. And
That
Nancy.
girl is wanting some Steve dick.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't think Jonathan's really that into it. Like he
no.
doesn't want to go to college with her.
Yeah.
He's kind of
He's a
ignoring
stoner,
her.
man.
Like,
Yeah.
I know. He's just like too high to care.
Steve's like life goals are more in line with what Nancy wants in the life. Like he wants a family with kids, and Nancy's like, that sounds nice. Will's like, wow.
Steve's gonna be like just like you, stay at home dad. Nancy's gonna be like nose to the grindstone.
Yeah, working
journalist. Yeah.
I mean, someone was saying to me, do you think Will's going to come out to Mike?
I feel like they laid it on so thick. How could Mike not pick it up? But
yeah.
Well, I mean, in the 80s, it
yeah, I guess in the 80s,
harder to be
different.
open about that. It's the only person that knows is Jonathan about Will's feelings. So,
but it's like a radar. How could he not see?
I know.
Honestly, all the buyers, Bo says Jonathan's on his way out. I feel like all the buyers, like they could kill off Joyce, Will, or Jonathan next season, and it would complete their arc. And I don't think anybody would be that sad about it. So,
yeah, you're right. I don't know that any of
they're the most expendable.
Will is the one that I think poses the most potential to
with
like
his connection.
Yeah,
to
but
and Vecna,
yeah.
So,
will we react to Wolf of Wall Street? We've already seen Wolf of Wall Street, so no, we won't react to it. Sorry,
that's
LNA.
So funny. Jesus, that's so good.
Honestly, I could see Will sacrificing himself to save 11 and Mike, and I could see Jonathan sacrificing himself to save Nancy and Steve, and that just solves
that could be
all the issues, right?
But the question is, do they do that separately, as in two different battles altogether?
Like mirror it, the Byers brothers going out together as heroes in separate battles. Yeah, that could definitely be something narrative that they could do. I mean, they've already shown like most of the mirroring in this season was focused on stuff like that, so it fits their thematic elements and where they are as characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see the Duffer brothers going with that.
Do you think Will and Mike will end up together? I don't think so, Lauren.
No.
Mike just is.
Mike and 11 are.
He's too straight for Will.
You can't choose to be gay and you can't choose to be straight. So, no.
Hopefully, Will gets a better haircut in season 5, though.
Yeah, I know. He deserves more than what he's got, doesn't he? His haircut's horrible. Elliot. Mike was like, damn, Will really enjoys being my best friend.
Yeah. Mike is like, Will's such a good friend. At this point, they can't kill Steve. They've gotten so close in past seasons. Even this season, they can't kill Steve. I think that would just would be like
the As of the end of season 4,
season 8.
Who is the most annoying character to you?
End of season 4, most annoying character.
Honestly, Mike.
Yeah, I think Mike.
Mike was my favorite in season 1, I think, just with what he was going through and his relationship with 11. And then they've both 11 and Mike, their personalities since they've become this couple have kind of just been,
Like they love each other. We get it. Who cares?
Just have her fight stuff with her mind. I don't care about her relationship.
What about for you?
Right. Okay. No, it's Nancy. I'm sorry. I can't stand the woman.
Nancy?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, Nancy's always been annoying, though. I've just
but it's annoying.
been okay
it's just
with
like, go away, woman. That's what I kept saying to her when she's on the screen.
I liked her. I I enjoyed her more this season because I liked her and Robin making a connection and becoming friends. I felt that made Nancy more enjoyable to me because Robin is an awesome character, and just their banter back and forth because of their headbutting personality. They're completely different personalities, but them kind of.
Honestly, I really
establishing
like
a connection.
Robin, but I was finding her a little annoying this season. And I like Nancy, but I was finding her a little annoying. So, except for when they were together, like when they
Yeah.
were separate, they were annoying me. When they were together, I was like, okay, they're fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe
Ironically,
it's
I don't like season 3, but she served a purpose in season 3. In here,
yeah.
not really as much.
And Robin, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. She was just kind of like I don't know. Robin could have been more.
Yeah.
She had a contract, so she was there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I'm going to have to call it a night.
All right. Well, let people know where they can find you and what you're up to.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you for having me, guys. It has been great. I've obviously been the more critical one here, so that's always great. Yeah, so currently I am concentrating on Lord of the Rings stuff because someone's got to fight this stuff. Amazon cannot be allowed to just take what is essentially one of the founding fathers of Britain. That's how we look at him for his works and pervert his stories. So I'm doing lore videos. I'm doing reviews. I mean, I'll be doing probably a review on the new film Bullet Train that's coming out next week. I've just released a video on the Forging of the Rings of Power. So go check that out. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Would you call yourself a Tolkien scholar?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I don't apart from Tom Shippey, who's an actual dedicated scholar, I don't think anyone should have that term. I'm just a fan.
Okay. All right, just a fan. All right, well, go check out Uber Geek on YouTube, and if you're a Tolkien fan, check out his Tolkien lore videos and reviews, and get ready for his criticism of Rings of Power. It comes out.
Absolutely gonna rip it to shit.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us and having the chat today, Uber Geek.
I'd love to do it again. It'd be great.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, have a good one, bud.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, folks. That does it for our first episode of You, Me, and the Review. That's what I called it.
That's what it's called? You, Me, and the Review?
Yeah.
All right.
With a
Do
dedicated topic on a specific piece of media and a special guest.
So, yeah, let us know in the comments if you thought this was good or bad. If you tune in for other reviews like this, where we just kind of hash out what's going on in something.
Yeah. Just deep dive into a specific topic. And
yeah, maybe we could do more of it if you guys are into it.
Yeah. I mean, this also, if you guys are up and coming YouTube channels, or if you got your own channel you want to.
Yeah, if you want to jump in with us at some point, if you're interested in that, keep us posted. We could have some viewers.
Yeah, go subscribe to the Uber Geek. He just launched his channel in like May, I think.
Yeah, a couple months back.
Started making videos, so go give him some love from us. Go give him some subscribers and tune into his stuff, and let us know what you thought of this little stream, this podcast.
Sorry, there were no boobs in this episode, but maybe next time.
Yeah. Maybe next time. Probably not. So, all right. Did you have anything else you want to say? Did we get all the supers? Are we caught up on the supers?
I think we're caught up on supers. If you haven't already, you can like, comment, and subscribe. Although if you're here, I'm sure you're already subscribed.
That's not true. No? Supers. No, I'm talking about this says there's no new supers.
I don't know what he's talking about. But this was fun. I liked hashing it out. I liked hearing other people's opinions, and chat's comments helped.
More threesomes, says Cleon. Okay.
More threesomes. I liked having the chat and be able to chime in and provide some additional feedback that I think helps us outline our own theories a little bit more. It's good. I hope we can do this more often, actually.
Yeah. Give us your thoughts on what you think about Stranger Things season 4 and where you think it's going to go from here. And look forward to our finale reaction on Tuesday.
That's right. It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Have a good one.
Bye. He's trying to figure out the music. Don't worry, it's coming.
Oh, we're not muted yet, are we?
No.